finance meeting to order.
I guess so, we're with the big boys, so I'm here.
You know, we've been unable, COVID has wreaked havoc on the whole country, in fact, the whole world, and the county has not been able to duck. It's wreaked havoc on our business agendas the last 2 months in a row. Been difficult to get enough people here to take care of business and to vote on ordinances and moves that we needed made. So we really have to play catch up. We're drawing near to the end of the year. We are required by law to affect certain things, one of those being a new budget for 2021. I know Kelly's really had her plate loaded in a number of ways, but she's worked really hard in putting this budget together. The Excel spreadsheet that we just passed out to you is kind of a reduced form of this 108 pages here, or actually it's 99 pages. The November expenditures was 96 pages. The November expenditures is 108. But this is just a reduced form of the line items that we have like we get on our regular reports. And I don't want to rush anybody or anything. We do not want to give the impression in any way that we're trying to rush anything through. We had to make some changes for different reasons, but nothing has been affected in the bottom lines, in that we've met all the requests that we possibly could. We did have to make some changes, and I'll let Kelly talk to you about it. You know, we're changing our software programs in the financial management office, I think in Susan's office. We're trying to get everybody where they can all communicate to each other. Well, the new software does different things. It has different parameters and different reports and different means of doing our business for us. And one of the things that it's affected most impactively on the budget is that it doesn't allow for the same type of salary splits that we've been doing in the past. So we've had to juggle the numbers within each elected official's department, or actually within each department where there were salary splits, so that we could maintain the salaries at the level that they're supposed to be at, but they weren't necessarily split between 2 or 3 different budgets, like in the circuit clerk's office, for instance. But when it comes down to the bottom, whatever the bottom number was before, the bottom number is still very, very, very close to what it was now. Where Leslie might take, and I'm just picking on Leslie because she's an easy one, in the split issues, Leslie might choose to pay the salaries of a group of employees out of one fund, and then pay the holiday or overtime pay out of another fund. Well, that's a split. And so we've had to put them all in the same fund, but we balanced the funds out and budgets out, the numbers out, where it's still the same. It just doesn't split between the services there. So, Kelly, was that boggled enough to?
No, that's probably better than I could have done, but that's basically it. We can't do salary splits, so we've had to redo all of the numbers and try to get it as close as possible as to what was coming out of each fund before we got rid of the splits. So.
Do you want to kind of just breeze through, walk through, and answer any questions that the guys might accidentally have?
Well, I explained to the finance committee, and I'll explain to everybody, basically, you know, when we would come in weekly and do our budget meetings, anything that was asked to be included or changed or added to the budget during those meetings, we have done that, and so all of those requests have been entered and are included in these final numbers. And then, you know, at the close to the very last meeting, I guess the finance committee finally made the decision on the $1,200 raise. And then we were notified of the final numbers on insurance. So those changes were made. All salaries were updated with all the new numbers.
So the $1,200 raise per employee, $2,000 raise per elected official.
No, we just did 1,200 across the board.
Oh, did we?
Yes.
Okay.
It was $1,200 for all full-time employees. And then the part-time people who were below $11 an hour had to be raised to $11 an hour to meet the minimum wage requirement. So that was done. The insurance increase was added. The salary splits were changed. And during those weekly budget meetings, I know the elected officials like Susan and Leslie Mason, they were having trouble with their automation funds balancing anyways. So we were already having to take some expenses out of those automation funds and move them to county general.
Mhm.
So, and I believe in Susan's, we had already had to move all of her, she was paying for insurance, I think, on her employees and 25% of their salary. So we moved all of that to county general. So things like that were the biggest changes. The only other changes that I made that happened after we had meetings were I made some updates to some revenues and fund balances. The revenues we talked about back in September. And then individual elected officials who had their own automation funds or special revenue funds, we discussed their revenues as we went through the meetings. But when you get closer to the end of the year, we have a much better picture of the revenues that have come in, and the fund balances that we have that we're probably gonna have to carry over. So things like that, I may have updated a little bit, but as far as expenses, everything is the same as it was when we met in budget meetings.
Did we add the $35,000 into the prosecuting attorney's office for Osceola?
Yes.
Okay, that's added in there.
And so the Office of Emergency Management, was there a split there?
There was.
Okay.
He was originally being paid 50% out of his account and then 50% out of roads. I put him on just 100% out of county general. And the reason why I did that is because the judge's office was on a split with county general and roads. So changing that and changing OEM, it kind of helped even that out a little bit. Plus the 911 coordinator was 10% of his salary was coming out of OEM, and we got rid of that. So I just left it in 911.
This also reflects the final insurance change that we had.
This reflects the final, yes, the increase in insurance, all of those totals have been updated.
Kelly, have we made the $50,000 mandated payment for the landfill?
No, we received something earlier in the year telling us how much it was going to be, and we just kind of put it to the side until we got closer to the end of the year. So I checked with STN, and they said that there was some kind of change that was made, and they actually had to refigure that payment, and there's a lot of figuring that goes into that. And they're working on that right now. So as of last week, that's the last time I talked to them, they still didn't have it finished, so they're gonna send it as soon as they can. It'll be before the end of the year.
Guys, you're looking over it, has anybody, Betty, Fred, y'all, just because y'all aren't on the B committee doesn't mean that you can't have questions.
Not if you heard from me.
What's mine?
Going to the Blythe Courthouse construction, Justice Jackson, you know, right now, it looks like we put in 1.5 million, and I think that was at your committee's request,
Yes.
initial
we-
appropriation.
Yes, we did change that. We were originally, I think, had discussed doing $1 million, but we upped it to 1.5 because it seems, well, we just felt like that would be a better number to start the beginning of the year with, not knowing exactly,
What's directly in
yeah,
front.
kind of like yeah, exactly what's going on next. So.
Is it going pretty fast?
Yes, they're actually making some good progress. We had a meeting last week. There's a lot going on, but not really a lot to talk about. If that makes any sense. There's, yeah, looks great. I think Osceola looks. I don't know if any of you guys been down there,
I have
but
been down there.
they've got the copper up. Yeah, they're making a lot of progress.
On the Osceola construction, looks like we've done a little over $1 million there.
Well, yes. However, all of their money they have, I guess, kind of committed all of their money into different projects. So and even a little bit of their interest. So they know what they're doing with theirs.
Okay.
So, and I still, as far as the Blythe Courthouse construction goes, there is still, there's still probably close to 700,000 that's not allocated to anything at the moment.
Contingency.
Yeah.
We still have a little contingency.
Well, if you add
Or
that,
breathing room.
if you add that to the contingency, it's right at $1 million still. So it's going good.
Hold your breath.
Listen, there's a couple of things that are coming up that could, depends on how it works, but yeah, could eat into that a little bit.
Okay, Kelly, you want to walk us on the very last page, page 22 of this Excel spreadsheet. Grand total of all funds, $32,244,562.41.
That's expenditures.
Then the revenues, our projected revenues at $23,683,850.45, plus our fund balances at $27,582,270.96, for a grand total of $51,266,121.41. On that projected revenues, Kelly, is that at the 90% level or is that at 100% level?
That is all at 90% except for construction and except for the mental health grant. Everything else is at 90%.
So honestly, guys, what that says is we're well within our budget right now without making any changes, and gives us a little breathing room for next year. Now, if you look just at county general, I harp on county general quite a bit because that's just kind of a good indicator of county health. At the moment, in our county general CD fund that we've managed to build over the last few years, we're at $3,425,544.29 in our general fund CD. And as of today the 14th? It is. As of this morning, our checking account had just a little over $2 million in it. So, and we still haven't had our tax settlement yet, have we, Peggy?
No, she brought it today.
Hannah brought it today? Oh, did she? Is it completed? Well, I mean, is her work completed?
Her work is, yes.
Her work is and yours starts?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're not in a great rush. Be done tomorrow?
I think you can have it by 5.
Tonight,
Will we have it done by the end of the year?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. Any indications, I'm not asking for numbers, just how we might have compared to last year?
No, I mean, our collections were almost $3 million more.
Did you do that?
No, the people did that.
The people did that.
The more taxpayers paid.
Okay, so, but
More
now,
taxpayers paid their taxes this year
Exactly
than normal.
right. Yes.
so
We're
you,
talking about excuse me, small taxpayers or big taxpayers or what? People that hadn't paid in the past or?
I really haven't looked at what the comparison,
Yeah.
for that, but, I guess we've just had more. I really think our online has helped a lot.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying we collected that much online, but we probably pushed $1 million online.
Good deal.
part of it is some of the pilot agreements are still continuing to kick in.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
industry and our economic development tax continuing to pay us back. Part of it is our reappraisal group in Harley's office, updating the numbers and files. Harley, is that not correct?
That's true.
And so it's just a combination of things, and we continue to, Mississippi County continues to move financially in the right direction. We're being strong, getting strong. We try to meet all the needs and services of the people and do it in as conservative a fashion as we possibly can. So,
Just glad to see the plan's working.
exactly. I mean, this has been the plan all along, and this has been the reason that we've had this economic development tax, is it has been a real boost to our tax collections and the citizens. Guys, any questions? I'm talking about regarding the budget. We have a balanced budget here. Elected officials, any remarks?
You got any extra?
No, sir.
No, I just want to check.
So you said $2,000 a while ago, is that,
Ma'am?
you said $2,000 a while ago for the elected officials? Well, I mean, I'm just asking, I thought that is what he said.
It is what I said. Honestly, I thought that's what we were doing
I thought so.
for the 8 elected officials. And it's not too late to make those changes.
Well, you were there when you told me to ask him and he said.
I know, and I jokingly said, because he said.
Oh, you
it was
were
gonna
talking
be
about
even
2,400.
2,000. Yeah, and I said, tell him I want 2,400.
Yeah,
and he
she
said
asked about
2,000.
2,400, but we honestly had said 2,000 for the elected officials. But there's not but 8 of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can change that, that's not a problem, when we asked, you said just leave it.
But I mean, that's when I said, tell him I want 2,400 as a joke.
And that's the way I took it, was the 2,400. She wanted double,
Yeah,
That was a joke.
Well, that's what we had done in the past.
Right,
Your
right.
point was, that's
why I
what we
said
had
that.
done in
Yeah.
the past. And I said, no, let's just leave it.
And you said no, you told her no, you said 2,000.
Yeah.
no, he said 1,200.
Well, can we make it 2,000 for those? That was our intention.
Can I leave before this gets any worse?
No.
I'm not on the committee.
No, what,
I honestly don't remember. I really don't.
and you're the youngest member of the committee.
Oh, I tell you.
No, I think our
I mean,
intention.
it's always been more for elected officials, that's what I thought too, but.
Yeah, no, we had said 2,000, and
Okay.
I'd truly like to leave it at that if we can, as long
I
as.
mean, I
no
just wanted to
objection.
bring it up before you pass something in.
Yeah, and it won't impact it that much. You're talking eight
What's
officials at $800.
I mean,
And
it'd
that's
be good for
still,
them, yeah.
that still barely leaves them in the middle of the road.
Mhm.
And they're, you know, all the elected officials are actually somewhat set by state constitution based on size of the county. There's a range for each elected office. And for years, we ran on the low end of that range. And we finally have got them about to the midpoint, just like we've been looking at the employees, the county employees. We're trying to reach midpoint, and that's kind of where we finally got our elected officials. But to maintain that level, we need to be at that 2,000 mark if we can. And it won't impact the final numbers here on the budget significantly. So, other questions, elected officials?
I think Justice Burge is not here. What about the cell construction and the landfill? How's that?
You know, I don't know, to be honest with you. I do know that Justice Burge had the opportunity to go and visit with the judge not too long ago, just a couple weeks ago. And they discussed, you know, their budget and what was going on in it. I think both were satisfied with the numbers that Neil had put together and the judge had looked over and either modified or given his approval. Honestly, other than that, I don't know exactly where that new cell construction is. And Neil, bless his heart, the last time I visited with him, he was coming Friday. Cindy, have you heard any different?
He said he was coming Friday, but that was
Before,
last
yes.
week. Mhm.
I'll bet he's here. I bet he's at the
Well,
Friday meeting.
I told him if something came up and he couldn't be here to let us know, and we would get him on speakerphone or a conference call or something.
Yeah,
I have not called him.
my understanding is the family was trying to make arrangements this morning, for his son. Today is Monday, and I have no idea, but I would think he might be free by Friday. I don't know. I don't know if he'll feel like coming or not. I don't know that I would, but. I bet right now they're having a little bit of trouble with this rain, but that's normal for this time of year.
I just didn't know.
All right, so you and I are it on the finance committee.
Oh, well, then I should make do I need to make a motion
Well,
to
you
accept
know,
the?
there's not really
the
much of a
20?
motion to make, because we don't have a third, since Justice Nelson left just to vote.
So-
But you can make the motion that we move it to the full court for consideration at our next regular quorum court meeting, which will be this coming Friday, without recommendation, simply because we don't have a quorum to vote on it.
Now, I didn't, I know, did I read in the agendas, do we need to talk about the zero outs on the?
We're gonna do a separate ordinance.
Of separate ordinance,
Yeah,
okay. all
It's on,
right.
it's on our list here, and we'll get a separate ordinance, so.
Okay, yes, I make a motion to move it on to the full court on Friday, past the 2021 budget.
That's perfectly satisfactory to me, and we'll move it without recommendation for the simple reason we don't have a majority quorum here to vote on, to a recommendation portion of it. But we'll move this to the full court with only changes to be made in raising increasing the elected officials by $800 a person. Okay. To that, we've got old business that we haven't been able to conduct the last month. There wasn't enough people to be in town for the November meeting, or well enough to come. So one of those is an ordinance, to answer your question, zeroing out 5 economic development projects. That's coming from Justice Nelson's committee, Planning and Development. I think the committee, working with Cliff Chitwood and the Great River Economic Development Authority, have decided that 5 of their projects have either completed or more or less all crossed in that they just never came to fruit. And they'd like to take those commitments out of their budget to free up the money to use elsewhere. So if we can put that ordinance on the agenda, who takes care of that? You, Kelly?
I'll probably have to send it to Jeremy.
Okay.
He'll know the account numbers and all that.
All right. You know, we had discussed that before, the planning and development had discussed it. The ordinance to catch up on the, coming out of energy and property
No, right?
for the 2020 budget appropriations to pay the bills. You want to talk about that? We're behind on paying our bill right at the moment.
Yes, so since we did not pass an appropriation ordinance in October or November, there's not very much left that is appropriated, and we did get a bill from the construction company last week for what, right, 400 and something, almost 500,000.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we'll pay that on Friday afternoon after the appropriation. I think, and we're gonna, the recommendation was to appropriate $1 million, which that's kind of been, kind of holding for 2 months now. So, the $1 million will more than cover the December, expenses, and then we'll start the 2021 with the,
With 1.5.
yeah.
Okay, so if we could have $1 million ordinance for the Blytheville Courthouse Construction Fund.
Yeah, so that'll pay.
Justice Nelson, again, did not stay long enough, but it's my understanding from Cliff Chitwood that the Planning and Development Committee is recommending, were you there, Fred?
No.
Were either one of you two there at the last Planning and the P&D meeting? No, they weren't, because it was just Justice Ash and Justice Nelson. I couldn't make it either. They're asking to appropriate an additional $74,956.99 to A&J involving the construction of a business building on the property, airport property at Manila. This was a bid project that they've had some cost overruns. They've used all the money we appropriated initially. And Cliff's not here today either, but if Cliff were here, what he would tell you is that without this additional appropriation of almost $75,000, the project stalls and goes away, and we'll have a hull of a building over there with nothing in it and no new jobs, and quite a bit of money that's already been utilized that will just almost pretty much be wasted. I think that the Planning and Development Committee sent this as a recommendation to the Finance Committee. So, Fred, you're from Manila. You got any remarks?
No.
Betty?
No. I don't think so. One thing, once they do get the building, and this, just for my own knowledge,
Yes, ma'am.
Manila still owns the building,
Yes, ma'am.
correct?
Yes.
So it's not,
No, it is not. It'll still be public property.
okay.
They're there to fix avionics, electronics, radios, GPSs, radio beacons, stuff of that nature. A&J has been situated in northwest Arkansas by Fayetteville. They've attracted businesses or planes from all over the country, literally all over the country, in getting their repair done, because it's one of the few nationwide companies that can do those types of repairs. But the traffic has become so heavy up in northwest Arkansas, the air traffic, they were looking for a quieter place and maybe a more economically friendly place. And so that's where our economic development tax came in. And I think their initial projection is to start out with 8 to 10 electronic specialists and increase from there. So with that said, would you care to make a recommendation?
Sorry. Yes, I make the recommendation that we appropriate an additional $75,000 to the A&J construction.
Let's make it $74,956.99.
Explain that, explain that.
My goodness.
Well, that's what they asked for. Let's hold on to $43 a penny. One of the things we tried to do in the October meeting, but again, didn't have enough people to vote, we have the COVID money, CARES money, that we've been working on diligently. I tell you, we got kind of close on our deadline on that. If it hadn't been for Justice Jackson and a couple others pushing it, Miss Peggy over there got directly involved, and we had a lot of help from the Greene County, what was she, the treasurer, Greene County treasurer? I'd like to acknowledge her and the help that she gave us. The lady over there was very well versed in the process of applying for this money. We had a deadline on the application. The deadline was November 15th.
Was that the first deadline? I'm not really sure what the first one was.
But there was a November deadline that we had to meet with the application. You just had to ask for the money. Then once the application was in, we could start submitting the bills to get reimbursement. And the Greene County the Greene County treasurer was very helpful in helping Wayne Reynolds, our Office of Emergency Services person, to complete that application in a timely manner and get it in. We're due a little over $600,000.
Actually, I saw on the online banking today where that is in the process of being deposited into our account.
Is it really?
600 and something, I forget the exact figure.
That's exciting.
That's very
We
exciting.
did get 11,000 last week for a mask reimbursement. Wayne knows about that already.
So that's great, and I think with Kelly's help, I think weren't we able to use payroll numbers to cover the vast portion of that 600,000?
It was all payroll, sheriff and jail, so from what I understand is we have to reimburse those funds,
Yeah.
so.
That's the part that Debbie was so helpful about was, telling, letting Kelly and him know that really all you had to do was use your payroll and stuff that would pretty well take care of it, and
So if we use those payrolls, then the money has to go back towards those payrolls and reimburse those funds. So the good thing about that is that we're transferring
That's right.
well over $1 million into the sheriff's department and jail every year out of county general.
Yeah.
So maybe this will be a little bit of relief on how much we have to transfer out of county general, and so it'll be a big
Yeah,
help.
that could be really good.
Yeah, that'll help us in general. So
Yeah.
we need to consider that CARES Act ordinance. It was on the October agenda, it was on the November agenda. We need it back on the December agenda, please.
And that's for a line item, is that right?
We
Sets
have
up
to
fund.
set up a whole fund.
Oh, okay.
It sets up a whole CARES Act fund, and then it can be distributed from that fund.
Gotcha.
That's just to receive the money in.
I see, okay, and then disperse it out.
Then we'll appropriate it back out.
Gotcha.
And transfer it over.
Gotcha, okay.
Well, again, Justice Nelson has left us. On the insurance committee, I'm not on that committee. Are you on that committee?
I am on that committee, yes.
You are on that committee?
I am on that committee, yes.
Okay, I did attend a meeting a month or so ago, and that committee was talking about the possibility of escrowing money for the employees' medical bills.
Oh, yes, we have not really talked about that,
Since then?
since then. So,
is that the end?
I mean, at the moment it is. I mean, there's
All right,
no
so-
new developments.
all right.
I have not spoken with Justice Nelson about doing anything.
I haven't spoke to him either. Apparently I should
That's
have.
what's wrong. Y'all didn't speak to him.
Well, maybe that is what's wrong. I don't know.
He has not,
We've just not been able to meet.
yeah, things got, with the uptick.
I
everything kinda-
didn't like, I'm not on that committee, but I didn't like that idea. I think that takes away our bargaining power. And I know there are people, and I am one of them, that the collection agencies are beginning to want to do something. And not necessarily the doctors that want to do it, it's always the collection agencies that want to do it because by the time it gets out of the doctor's hands, and he's done lost half of what he's fixing to, should have gotten anyway. But if you appropriate that money, it sounds good.
It's
But if they-
escrowing it. It wasn't appropriate.
Well, if you escrow it and they know that you're gonna pay those anyway, I don't know that leaves your bargaining power in very good shape when you go before the arbitrator.
Okay,
You'd have more.
correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like at the end of the last meeting that I was at, that was an insurance meeting, we were gonna, somebody, and I don't remember if it was Peggy, Kelly, somebody was gonna check to see what the process of escrowing would be.
Yes, that is right. I didn't know that you're mentioning that. That is correct. I do remember Justice Nelson was going to.
Maybe it was Justice Nelson that was
He
gonna
was
get.
going, yeah, he was gonna talk to somebody,
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Oh, that's
And-
right, he was, that's who it was, Bill was gonna talk to Jeremy Thomas, our attorney.
And we were thinking we would have maybe through the end of the first 2 quarters, is that when we were?
We were talking
Yep.
about doing it through the first 2 quarters, is what
Right.
we were talking about, but we didn't know the exact process, so Chairman Bill was gonna talk with our county attorney, Jeremy Thomas, see what that process would involve.
Wasn't Jeremy gonna talk to somebody also?
Yeah, he was gonna talk to the, we're putting the meeting together, aren't we?
Uh-huh.
He was going to talk to, either the arbitrator or our attorneys, I don't remember which, but he was gonna talk to somebody that was directly involved in the talks.
Dave Nichols is the attorney that's taking place, or taking the federal portion of it in Illinois,
Well,
so maybe he was gonna talk
that's,
with Dave.
yeah, he was. And this is what I'm saying. Let's say I owe $10,000. And the county says, okay, we're gonna pay that if your insurance doesn't pay it. If they're short on money, and I'm assuming they're gonna be, I don't know, I wish I knew. But, where does that leave the county then? Does that leave the county paying the $10,000 bill if they don't? Or don't pay any portion of it? Is that what you're saying?
If it
Yes.
were
Okay,
escrowed, it would.
okay, if you're ready to pay up, then that's what, yeah, because I think that's where we'll be. But I think that's the right thing to do.
Oh, I think we're gonna have to take care of the
Yeah.
employees one way or the other. I
You
don't
know-
see any other way around it.
Well,
Have you heard, Kelly, have you heard anything from Jeremy or Mr. Nichols?
Nothing.
See, once we made Jeremy the county contact person, Mr. Nichols, Kelly had talked to him, Peggy had talked to him, I had talked to him. But, you know, when you got multiple points of contact, that can be a problem, and it just seemed the correct thing to do to make our county attorney the point of contact. But then, we're not getting fed much more
well, I think at
information.
that time Jeremy also wanted money.
He did, yes,
wanted
I
a
was about to say,
contract.
yes, I was about to say
That's
that. And he also, yes, at the same meeting, he did present a, like a retainer agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna be pretty standard.
Yes, the other
If you don't
counties-
use him, you're gonna have to use some other attorney,
Did we
and they're
pass
gonna
that?
want the.
No,
the
it's never,
agreement.
It's never been passed.
no, so
It-
that should come.
It was never really discussed a whole
lot.
lot, if you don't know the truth.
No, so the other, I think there's 11 or 12 counties in the lawsuit, including us, and the other 11, they have a different attorney, and Jeremy wasn't sure if they did not have a county attorney or exactly why they were all using the one attorney, but since he is in place as the county attorney, he was asking to be our representative instead of the other guy, the other attorney.
You know, and I think.
And the agreement that he brought was the same agreement that the other counties had. You know, I mean, it was pretty standard.
Yeah, it was the exact same agreement that the other counties had with the other individual.
That's right.
And if we don't do it with Jeremy, we needed to do it with the other individual. And it
That's
was about,
correct.
if I remember, $34,000. And my thought on that was that if we're gonna spend $30,000 plus to either somebody outside the county or somebody inside the county, I'd rather keep it in the county.
No doubt.
Hey, my notes from that insurance meeting
Uh-huh.
state that the insurance committee voted to move that Jeremy's proposal to the finance committee.
And here we are. I'm sorry. Gosh, that's been.
It has been a minute, but I was at that meeting as well.
Yeah.
And that's what, I'll just be honest, I actually stepped out of the room and when y'all were voting on that, and I
Uh-huh.
actually texted Jeremy and said I had to step out. Did they move that to your court, or did they vote on that? And so I have it in my text message, and he says, yes, they voted to move it to finance.
So yes, I would make the recommendation that we move it to the full court. Like you said, I mean, it's
And we're talking about
the
the
agreement.
agreement to use Jeremy as our,
Yes.
mediator.
Yes, either way, yes, the go-between.
There was a term in there,
Yes,
yes.
between, because like you said, either way, we are going to have to enter into that agreement with
With somebody.
somebody.
Kelly, would you mind asking Jeremy for that,
Hold on.
please?
Did you have what the rate was?
I mean, I have the proposal, whatever the proposal, Jeremy had a written proposal that
Yeah, he
day,
did.
and it was patterned after whatever the other attorneys for the arbitrator, I mean, he patterned it exactly like
Right.
theirs was worded, and so all they had to do was agree to accept Jeremy's portion.
Yeah,
As well.
Mr. Nichols had forwarded Jeremy the agreement. So it was actually, I guess, kind of, he did say, I mean, we do need to look at it again, but I do recommend that we move it on to the full court. I don't think there's any reason for it to stay in finance. But he did make a couple of changes to it, and I don't remember exactly what those changes were.
But he can explain it to us
He
in
could
full
explain,
court.
yes. Since he's not here today, I think he should explain, yeah.
So can we add that to the agenda, please, ma'am? Cool. And you already have the ordinance coming from the personnel meeting just a few minutes ago.
Yes, I do have that, and then I don't know if you had anything extra for prosecuting attorney, or I didn't know if you had anything.
If they wanted to do something else, we offered them the opportunity to come and meet with us today.
Okay.
Other than that, they were gonna take, okay, so what Kelly's talking about, I don't want, for the sake of transparency, we were approached, Judge Nelson and then myself were approached by Circuit Judge Dan Ritchie and Circuit Judge Ralph Wilson. They are the two circuit judges in the 12th, 2nd Judicial District that are from Mississippi County. So our prosecuting attorney for the 2nd Judicial District has been Scott Ellington. Scott Ellington ran for successfully circuit judge. So come January 1, Scott Ellington's going to be a new circuit judge, which opened up the prosecuting attorney's office in the 2nd Judicial District. The governor has made that appointment, and at the same time, down in Osceola, Catherine Dean was the deputy prosecuting attorney in the Southern District down there in the Osceola District, and she ran for circuit judge, district judge. Same thing that Shannon Langston does here in Blytheville, and Catherine was successful, which opens up her position down in Osceola. And that's normally filled by a lawyer, a local lawyer within the county that would like to accept and be they call him a DPA, or Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. And Judge Wilson and Judge Ritchie were concerned, as was Judge David Burnett,
Right,
came and
yeah.
spoke to us a month ago and asked for additional monies for that Osceola office. That there was a large discrepancy between the amount of money that we gave the Blytheville Deputy Prosecuting Attorney's Office and the Osceola Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Office. And Judge Burnett brought in some figures from DPA Catherine Dean, and what she was basically asking for was an additional $35,000, and it was going to be utilized to help fund they call them in circuit court a case coordinator, a person that keeps the cases moving and flowing through district court. And they haven't had that. They had $10,000 is all they've had. And so at that time, we agreed in here with Judge Burnett that we would add an additional $35,000. It is in the budget. But apparently, Judge Ritchie and Judge Wilson didn't realize that.
Oh, okay.
They didn't realize that we had actually already done that. They were looking at the same thing, and they were looking at Catherine's figures, but they just didn't know we had actually taken concrete action on it, so they were trying to ensure that we had. So from there, They asked, could they become a county employee? Well, the thing with becoming a county employee is it adds in another $19,000 in benefits between insurance, retirement, FICA and such. And also the Arkansas Association of Counties highly recommends that we not fund or make those employees in that office county employees, because they are in fact employees of the state. And if we take over state responsibilities, that's just something the state will just slack off on even more and will never fund. So after talking with the two circuit judges, we offered them the opportunity to come and speak to us today if they had any additional requests. At that time, the two judges told us they would take and look at the numbers now, since they now know that they've got an additional $35,000. They were going to try to make that work. I'm not sure exactly who the new deputy prosecuting attorney is going to be, because that hasn't been determined yet, and I will not mention any names because I don't know. But they would like to look local in Mississippi County. It would be difficult for a deputy prosecuting attorney from outside the county, such as Craighead or Crittenden, to have a lot of skin in the game in Osceola cases or South End Mississippi County cases in district court. So they're looking and trying to find somebody that would be interested locally in the bar associations. So to answer your question, we're going to let her roll unless they come to us again. All right, now then, any questions about the 21 budget or the ordinances that we've talked about? The last thing that I've got here is just a few minutes. Is anybody got any questions about the November expenditure report? Or Kelly, is there anything that you'd like to point out to us on the November expenditure report?
Well, I have two quick questions about the budget, if you don't care.
Yeah, no, that's why we have you.
Okay, so back to A and J, if there's going to be an ordinance, that might potentially be passed Friday, do you want it to stay like that? Do you want it to come in a form? I guess it needs to be. I just wondered, do you want me to add it to the budget and just include it that way, or you want a separate ordinance? I guess it'd be better to have a separate ordinance.
Probably better to have a
just in
separate
case
ordinance.
it didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other question was, we have an employee that was hired by the judge when he came into office, and it's an hourly employee with no set hours or anything, so I wasn't able to just give a $1,200 raise. Do I need to do some type of hourly raise, or?
Just one employee in the
It's
county.
just one employee in the road department. I didn't really know what you wanted me to do with that.
So in the past, what we've done with part-time employees, part-time hourly employees, it kind of works out along the same line at a 50 cent an hour raise to be about equivalent to that $1,200 raise that we've been giving full-time employees.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we've done in the past.
We have, but the last few years have just been different because of the minimum wage.
Right.
We've had to follow that instead of doing
Well,
50 cents or.
I mean, they qualify for the minimum wage already.
Well, they're at $17 an hour already, so.
So you're saying if we moved it to $17.50, then that would be
Pretty much equivalent.
equivalent?
Mhm.
I think we should do that.
Well, when you look at the number of hours in a normal 52-week, 40-hour work week, what do you got, 2,040? 50 cents an hour, that's $1,020. And then if you have any overtime at all, then it goes over the 1,200. And that's how I came up with that.
I've never looked at it like that. I'm glad you told me that. Seriously, I have to put that in my notes.
Good luck.
Okay.
We'll use that again. Cannot wait. Yeah, no, that's good.
Okay, Kelly, what about November?
I don't.
Anything that stuck out to you?
No, really, there's not.
I honestly hadn't had time to, I haven't spent my normal 4 to 5 hours going through it this time.
Well, honestly, I haven't had the time to do that either.
Guys, we got 3 elected officials. Anything in your November report we need to fuss at you about?
No fussing.
Next year, this month you may want to, not last month.
All right, I tell you what we did with you also. You know, we talked about, and we just left everything just like it is, relying on your word and how things are gonna work in your office after the first year.
Right,
And we'll make all those adjustments, you know, working with you after the first.
okay,
Is that okay?
that's fine with me,
Well, I mean, we're all taking each other's word and we'll just work together.
okay?
Okay, anybody got anything? Marcus, Press, you got any questions, sir? Toby? Justice-elect?
I promise I'll stay for all your meetings.
Don't promise something you can't keep.
If I show up for it, I
Now,
think.
12 or 14 years from now, you may feel a little different, I don't know. Some whippersnapper comes up
Unless I
and
have a really good reason, let's just put it, I'll just go to the house.
You have a really good reason.
Cindy, would you announce our arrangements for our next regular meeting?
The quorum court meeting?
Yes, ma'am?
We plan on having a quorum court meeting Friday, 2 p.m. here. If we don't have a quorum in person, then we'll get them on speakerphone or on telephone or conference call. Be able to vote.
It's not anything that I can.
Yes,
do.
what, I understood we
Yes.
had it here.
Because, the reason for that is because there are courts taking place in both Burdette and Osceola. So, I think it's DRPR, maybe in Osceola.
Now, civil scheduled, but
Is that what it is?
you know, civil cancels a lot. Do you want me to see if they canceled and have it in Osceola?
Continue.
I don't care. What do y'all want to do, guys?
The biggest space that you possibly get.
Well, there won't be any more people there
I'll have to show it to you.
in Osceola than is here now, really. Well, yeah, there might be.
We'll have 8 hopefully, won't we?
Look for it sometime.
8, 9. Stephen and I can step out.
He's like,
10, it'd be 10,
if you can get the table.
10 or 11.
It would have to be the Osceola courthouse that would clear because Burdette doesn't offer anything big enough.
Burdette, we don't have anything.
Yeah, there's nothing in Burdette to use. If we try to get over in the Dixon Center, it echoes so bad, I can't hear it, and I know he can't.
Surfers are.
So, Cindy, if the Osceola courthouse clears and you want to make a change, or ask Judge Nelson.
Okay, well, I asked him this morning, he said as far as he knew, we were meeting here at the Annex, but if Osceola opens up, we can change it to Osceola.
Okay, that'd be fine. Just follow the judge's lead there.
I'll call Barbara and see if that civil term is settled
Okay.
today. And I'll let everybody know, I'll email everybody this afternoon or in the morning.
I'm kind of like Justice Hepler, the bigger the better, the space for us to spread out. So this has been devastating. I mean, I have never in 33 years on the quorum court been to where we had a single meeting that we had so few JPs, much less 2 months in a row where we couldn't vote on ordinances. I've never had that in 33 years, so. Guys, appreciate everybody's coming. Appreciate what Kelly and Peggy have done on these budget numbers. I appreciate the elected officials for working with us and putting this all together. With no further business, we'll adjourn. See you Friday, please. Please see you Friday. We have got to have 8.